Recently, my business, Clara CFO Group, hit a pretty big milestone for me, and that was to hit 7 figures, $1 million, in a rolling 12 months. So we finally got to that point that over the previous year, as of June 30th, we hit $1 million in annual revenue. So if you have been in the small business space for a long time, you know that the idea of building a 7-figure business gets talked about a lot. And I was really so excited. I've been, going after this goal for a really long time to be able to hit that. And, now that I've hit it, it is very exciting, but also at the same time, it's kind of the same. It says it's kind of the same as it was before I did that. But I think, we continue to grow the business, and that's going to keep growing, and that's what I want it to do. But I did just kind of post a video not too long ago about splitting the companies into 2. And so you guys kind of appreciated me bringing you along on that side of things. So I thought I would go ahead and just tell you a little bit of the story and some of the ups and downs of going from starting the business, just me as a side hustle, to having a now 7-figure business. And I want to make sure that it's very clear too, that just because it's a 7-figure business doesn't mean that all of a sudden I can just sit back and relax and not have to do anything and all my problems are solved. If anything, I've got more problems, right? Because the business is getting bigger. Okay, so I just want to make sure that that is very clear, because there's no magical threshold you cross over and then everything gets easier in business. And as much as I wish that that was the case, that's just not. So anyways, I am going to share the journey with you today of starting the business in 2017 to where it is now, as just hitting $1 million in annual revenue. Okay, so if that sounds interesting, please stay tuned, grab a little beverage. I'm going to tell you a story. So I started my business in 2017. Some of you guys know this. I was working as kind of a small business controller / CFO for an engineering firm, and I wanted to start my own thing. I worked completely on the side for a little bit. I started a side hustle, and I was doing lots of different accounting jobs for people, just kind of getting clients here and there. It took me about a year to get to a place where I was full-time in my business. And so then I left that job that I was working and kept them on as a client, but I hired somebody in to do kind of all the other things I was doing for that client. So I was able to switch over into full-time work after the first year. And then I was by myself for quite a while. So I was by myself. I had a little bit of help here and there, a little bit of accounting help, but I was starting to kind of figure out, what is this whole CFO services thing? I knew I wanted to do it, but how do I sell it? And what does it look like to grow that? So, quickly we grew to $100,000 in annual revenue. That happened fairly fast. And so I was very excited to reach that first threshold of getting to that first 100,000. That was really fantastic. And I was still I was the sole person providing those services. So whether or not it was, full service accounting services or it was the CFO side of things, I was doing all of that work myself. So pretty much from 2017 all the way to 2022, I was basically the main person doing accounting services and CFO services. I say accounting services because we did that for the first couple of years where we were helping out businesses that needed more full service accounting, but that kind of slowly faded off as we realized that's not what we wanted to do. And then we were just focused on CFO services. But I had a few people here and there that would help me with admin tasks, and I had some people who would help with some accounting tasks, just some kind of more of the process level work, kind of that more detailed transaction level work. But I was doing pretty much all of the work. And I think what a lot of you will find when you're a solopreneur is that you kind of start to reach a threshold of really how much you can charge versus how much time you have in the day. And can you really go up that much further? And I was starting to feel like I was really hitting my ceiling and how much I could do for CFO services, probably somewhere around $350,000. Now, that was just with the clients that I already had, and I didn't want to lose clients that I really loved just to gain bigger clients that maybe would pay me more. So, if I probably could have changed some clients around and actually gotten to maybe 500K, maybe just by myself, if I had really more strategically built up my client load. But what I realized is that I didn't want this business to be just about me. And I wanted it to be about a bigger picture, and I wanted it to be something where we could have a lot of clients that were working with really amazing people, and that we could bring really awesome professionals into this business and grow it to be beyond just me. I really wasn't wanting this business to be just about me. And so I rebranded in 2021 to Clara CFO Group. The business was called something else before that. The name is unimportant because I really didn't like the name. I'm not going to mention it. But Clara CFO Group, and the whole idea of Clara CFO Group was that we are a group of people that can support you in your business. It's not just a one person that, like, if they go on vacation, you're out of luck, you're not gonna be able to talk to that person. That somebody else could actually step in and give you the information that you need as a client, or that we could put our minds together and actually work to solve a problem with multiple people together, rather than it just being one person, that one person's experience. So it was really, really important to me to kind of think about, how do I want to grow the CFO group and not just be me by myself, Hannah, talking to clients all day, okay? So I still love working with clients. That is totally something that I've been wanting to do all along. But as I've started to grow the business, I've started to find that I'm needed in other places of the business as well. I'm needed in sales and marketing, and I'm needed in kind of more bigger picture, strategic, visionary type roles. So as I've been growing the business, I've brought on other people to be able to come in and do CFO services. So in 2022, a big turning point for our business was I brought in my first full-time fractional CFO that was able to sit and serve clients just like I did. So that's kind of that duplication process. So once you kind of clone yourself, and I would say cloning myself just more in the role that I was doing, my first employee that was able to do this is incredible and wonderful, not like me in a lot of ways, but really amazing at providing CFO services and really got it for what we want to do for our clients. So when we started, being able to actually have her be on client meetings the same times I was on client meetings, it was just like a light bulb of like, oh, this is exactly what I want. I want more people to be able to be served. And that was a really big step for me. And also to, figure out who we need on our team that are going to be so wonderful that I feel amazing giving any potential client to them. That's like a really big thing when you're a service provider and being in an industry that you need a lot of trust. Like, there's a lot of trust that happens around somebody opening up their financial situation to you and talking about their personal and business goals. So this is a really high trust industry. And so it's been a really important thing for us as we've been building the business to think about how we can bring more people in that we will be able to give clients to and train them up and feel really good about that transition to have people working with other people apart from me. And so that is beautiful. I love it. And like now, I think my clients that I did work with when they started working with this new CFO, I know that they actually prefer working with this new person rather than working with me because, frankly, I was just too pulled in too many other different directions and I wasn't able to be as responsive as I would have liked to be. So I think this is part of that business journey of me realizing I can't do all the things. I can't do all the things. I can't be a fully present CFO all the time with a full client load and grow the business and find new amazing talent to come in and work with us and, set the strategic vision for the business and be doing all the accounting and finance for my own business. So it was just, I was wearing too many hats. There's too many things going on. And that's why the hiring strategy really made sense to start bringing other people in. So simultaneously to this, the media side of the business, which I mentioned in that video that I posted a couple weeks ago, the media side of the business has started to grow. I've been very involved in that because I make all these videos. Nobody else does that. That's just me. On this whole production front, I do have a video editor that I outsource to, but as far as like all the content creation and coming up with the ideas, that is 100% me. So that has also taken a lot of time and energy. But the good thing about that is that has actually contributed to the revenue side of the business and the revenue growth. So we've been able to monetize the channel through AdSense, which is a little bit of money every month, which, when you guys see a Google ad before a video, that is, earns a little bit of money. We're not talking about a lot there. And then if we have affiliate relationships with different software providers that we really believe in. So things like QuickBooks or Gusto or JustWorks, we have a lot of amazing software partners that we believe in. And if somebody signs up for one of those after watching a video, the channel usually gets a kickback of that in some form of compensation. So that does generate revenue for the business. We've been able to do a number of things through the business where we have like spreadsheets, for example, that we sell. So we sell an estimated tax spreadsheet, for example, and that estimated tax spreadsheet, sells every quarter a little bit. And so that generates revenue for the business. So there's been a number of things on the revenue side for the media that has been able to build us and help us get to that $1 million level. Okay. And that's kind of like, I think I mentioned it in the other video talking about splitting the businesses. We're going to be separating those things out. As we've been growing though, there have been a lot of challenges, and I want to be really transparent about that. So we've had financial challenges. The idea that providing services as a solopreneur, the truth is that I didn't factor in enough costs when I initially priced some of those services. So I was charging too low of a fee to be able to pay someone else to do that. That's why I warn you guys about that now, because I went through that pain of like signing on somebody at a retainer cost, and then they don't want to have like big price increases every single year. But when I looked at the service that we were providing, I actually was underpricing it to be able to go and hire a really great person to be able to do that service. So that was one thing that I really had been looking at over the past couple of years and really had to work on, is figuring out like how to do the pricing correct with this new structure of having other employees do the work. Another thing that I did that I learned a lot from is I didn't charge at the beginning for onboarding. I wasn't charging enough for really getting up and running with a client. And the truth is there's a lot of work that goes into getting up and running with a client, getting them cleaned up, getting, the initial structure set up, getting a budget prepared, going through all their finances and helping them look through their expenses. Like there's a lot that goes into getting a client up and running, and I was not charging for that. And that was a huge mistake. So, there's been a lot of things that I've found over the years that part of the reason why I bring it and I talk to you guys about that stuff on the channel is because I don't want you to have to go through the pains that I did in order to grow your business. But I also want to be a little bit of beacon of hope, because even if you made some mistakes, you can still change things and you can still figure out how to grow your business and reach your $1 million goal, your $10 million goal, your $100 million goal. You can still do it. Okay. And I want you to know that. So also over the years, we've changed a little bit of like who we've been serving. At first, like it was really just anybody who needed a fractional CFO, call me up. Okay, I'll figure out how to make it work. But as we've moved into this hiring new people, training them up in our methodology, we've decided that niching into more of an industry specific target makes more sense, so that we can be a little bit more standardized in the way that we serve clients, a lot more standardized in the way that we serve clients. So now we're really focused on B2B service companies. Sometimes we do some B2C service companies as well if they fit within our model. And we've also identified who we like to work with. We've realized that there are some companies that if they don't have shared values and they're not trying to do great things in the world, like we might not be the best fit for them. We love to work with companies that are really mission driven and they have a real passion behind what they do. But if all they're doing is just trying to make more profit and they have no heart behind their business whatsoever, we're usually not the great fit for them, because we really like to be able to support businesses that have something deeper in the reason that they started their business. So, we have identified who we like to work with, what values we like to work with. We've been growing in, our structure of our service over this time. We've really honed in exactly what we do at different times in the business so that we can have that standardized service between like, what does a monthly financial review look like? It should be pretty much the same between me delivering that, between another employee delivering that, and a new person coming in. They're learning that structure so that we can all be providing a very standardized service that brings the individual's nuance and the individual's personality to the table, but we've really started to structure it. So all of this is like a major evolution of what the business has looked like versus when we first started. When I first started and I was doing this service for clients, I was just kind of like, well, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And every single client was different. And I was always kind of stressed out because I was trying to like tailor it exactly to and trying to figure out what would help that business owner. But over time, we've realized what that proactive structure looks like so that we know that our program helps clients. And we can identify if what we have is not the right fit for a client as well. So if they come with certain problems, we know we can solve them with our structure. But if they're coming in with a different set of problems that we don't think will, then we just make it very clear, hey, we're not the right person for you when we try to provide a referral. So this has been, all part of the journey. It's all part of the journey. And we've gotten to this place where we understand what we need to do, what are our KPIs, what do we need to be selling in order to continue the growth that we're looking for in the business. And I think that this $0 to $1 million stage has been so many learning lessons. And, the next stage, the 1 to 5 million stage, is going to be, I'm sure, very full of lessons as well. As we continue to grow our team, we're going to have more people dynamics to work on. We're going to have leadership structure we're going to need to be building up. And I'm very excited about this next stage, but it's also, a little scary. Where are we going next from here? What I want to do is I just want to share what we can with you here on the channel, because I think that it's nice to see behind the scenes and what's going on. And, to know that it's not just it's not a straight line. It's not a straight line from 0 to 1 million. It's not going to be a straight line from 1 to 5. It won't be a straight line from 5 to 10. And I think that there's always going to be some business ups and downs and things that we have to adapt to. And I, want to share the journey along with you guys. So I hope that that's been a little helpful, maybe a little interesting. Yeah, I thank you guys for listening if you've listened to the end, and happy to answer any questions in the comment section below. At this point, I am a pretty open book on the business journey over here, and I love talking about it. I'm happy if it helps you a little bit. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you later. Bye.